it's in that, you know, the relationship of the power greater than myself. It's an unfolding. It grows, it changes, it matures, it deepens, it becomes something that I've relied upon more and more and more and more. The statement in the book where they talk about the promises, and they talk about, which we can talk about later if you want to, but the promises where it talks about a new understanding. You know, it talks about, you know, understanding things that used to previously baffled us, right? How'd that happen? It happened slowly, through time, over a process. They talk about the promises are in the book right around step 9, correct? I'm getting 8 yeses and 4. A lot of yeses. We're going with the yes guys. All right, yes. It doesn't actually seem to matter what actually it says in here anymore, but we're all agreeing it's after 9, all right? All right. Will intuitively know how to handle situations that previously baffled us. I paraphrase, right? Come to know new freedom and new happiness, right? It's a longer list, but what it's suggesting to me, at 6 and 7, 8 and 9, when we finish the me, God, and you part, right? That we're looking at the world differently. As Chuck C. was said, you know, we have a new pair of glasses. We are seeing things differently. We're experiencing the living of life differently, right? We're approaching the experience of life differently. We see the whole point of this differently. You know, I used to look at that bumper sticker, the guy with the most toys wins, right? And think, Now I read that thing, the guy with the most toys wins. I think, nah, I don't think that's it at all. You know, the guy with the most toys failed. The guy with the most toys is trying to fix it. The toys don't fix it. I tried. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. The only thing that's never failed me is getting out of self and being of service to another human being. There's the buzz. You want the big buzz? Work the 12 steps so you can turn around and give them to another guy. And there's nothing in the world like watching that face pop. You know, where that new guy's reading along, you know, and he goes, hey. This got kind of a buzz to it, doesn't it? And he's like, yeah, buddy, there's a bigger buzz here than any I ever got out there. And it comes, the difference is this. It used to come real quick. And the best buzz was right up front. All the times I shot dope, none of them beat that first time. That first good pull on Jack Daniels and that velvet sensibility that ensued, right? I chased that to the gates, man. Never got it again. It's that first one. It's that first one, right? So, and paid no price for it. Paid no price for the first one. But slowly over time, the buzz gets less and less and less, and the price you pay gets higher and higher and higher, right? In here, it's the exact opposite. Buzz you get in the beginning is little bitty baby buzz. It's a little buzz in the beginning. You know what I mean? You know, most people, the only people who really remember what those first 30 days were like are people who are between 30 and 60 days sober. Those are the only people, because it's right there. It's right there. And you're just like, God damn, that was awful. Those first 30 days are horrible, right? Because you got no steps to back your play. You got no faith based in experience, right? Holding you together. What you have is you sitting on your hands. You tell people, I'm just sitting on my hands. You're hanging on to your ass is what you're doing. You're holding on to your ass, looking over your shoulder going, you guys need to hurry up. Because that's crazy right there, right? There's a guy whispering in my ear right now, and it ain't good. I've been listening to him for 14 years. He hasn't had a good idea yet. Right? That's what you got. You got the horror of your very recent past. And what do you get for it? Come on up here and get this shitty little plastic chip we got for you. Come on up here. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Come on. Come on. No, over here. Follow my voice, buddy. Follow my voice. Just go dangle the chip. Here's the chip. Aren't you excited about that, right? And you want to know something? Most guys I know that got a 30-day chip tell you it's the most valuable thing they ever had in their lives. That crappy little poker chip that we absconded with and put stamped 30 days on it and gave it to them, right? Here. Way to go, buddy. With any luck, we'll see you in another 30. Okay, great. 30 more of that, huh? Fantastic. Can't wait. So they say there's no big deals in Alcoholics Anonymous. I respectfully disagree. I think a 30-day chip is a big deal. That is an amazing thing. 30 days based on what? Fear of the recent past. Fear of your own best thinking. It's like at any moment, where's the enemy? Right here. He's never over there. Right here all the time, right here. Talking right now. Talking so loud I'm surprised you can't hear him. Judging all of you. Judge. Oh, brutal. It's absolutely brutal. 4 and 5, I get to change who I am. I get to look at who I am and say, okay, there it is. Now let's see. Let's figure out how to do something different. All right, now let's get into 6 and 7 and really make the commitment that we're going to turn our. It really is going over to God, like we said in step 3, right? That decision is in play. It's in effect. I'm humbly asking you to remove my defects of character. No more cutting deals. No more. If you'll give me this, I'll cut. I'll never do that again. Nope. Just here. Here. I am open to you taking it. Thy will, not mine, be done. My sponsor used to call me and leave me messages all the time. Just random. I come home from, or click like Donald. Oh, hello. Your name is not thy. Click. Really felt the need to tell me that, huh? Yeah, yes. Yes. There's a reason every time I call you. Just occurred to me, Earl's probably making decisions. I should stop that instantly. Just call him and put an end to that right away. Not by yourself, Earl. He used to say to me that I should never, he told me I was like 12 years sober. And we were driving somewhere. I think I'd driving him to speak somewhere, and we were driving back. And he said, I just realized something. If you haven't gotten it by now, my first sponsor was a flamboyantly gay man, right? And when I remember when he spoke, Donald was the kind of guy that he walked in the room and, no judgment. People would just turn around and look and go, hey, who's the big gay guy? All he had to do was just walk in the room, because he just, into a room. And he got up and spoke at this meeting, and I was sitting there with these dudes that I was, had started to hang out with, and meaning I just would sit with them. That's pretty much it. That was a big relationship for me in AA. I was just sit with those guys, head nodding buddies. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he spoke, and it was like, oh my God. This guy is so passionate about life. He loves his life. He loves recovery. He could care less what anybody thinks about him. This is me. This is who I am. You don't like him, move on down the road. You know what I mean? And he loved Alcoholics Anonymous. He was so powerful about his commitment to AA and how we live this life and how, and there was always and there was he's pointed to a row and he goes, all those guys are in my car, Like I fill up a car and I go to a meeting. That's how I go to meetings, with a full car of guys, right? And I was sitting there and I guess I said out loud, I go, oh, that's that guy to sponsor me. The dude saying to me, he goes, "Are you paying attention?" And I went, "Yeah." I said, "I don't give a shit about any of that." I said, "I want what he has. What he has is a passion for living. He's on fire with this thing. I'm dead inside. I want to feel strongly about something. I want to feel strongly about this." And he does. So I went up to him and I asked him to sponsor me. I said, "Will you sponsor me?" And he said, "Yes." All right. He said, "And you don't have to like what I tell you, and you don't have to think it's a good idea. You just have to do it." And I thought, all right, I can work around that. Little did I know, I could not work around this guy. Right? He saw me coming from a mile away. And his whole thing was action. You got to be moving in here. You got to be action, 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 action. You go to meetings, regular meetings regularly. You're of service to other people. You drive. You take. If you got extra seats in your car, you go pick a guy up who doesn't have a ride and you bring him to the meeting. You get the meetings 30 minutes before the meeting starts because you need to be there for that new guy who's coming who doesn't have any place to go. And you make him welcome and make sure he's got a big book, he's got a meeting directory, he knows where he's going to go the next night. You invite him out to coffee with us. And if we got a stranger sitting at our table, we're just going to assume that one of the guys, on the team invited that guy to come have coffee with us. And we include him. And that's what we do all day, every day. That's how we live. Because there's nothing more important in our lives than being solid members in good standing of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was just like, yeah. And then he called me up that night and he goes, "There's a guy named Tim. He's on the corner of 4th and Santa Monica. Go get him and bring him to the Ohio Street meeting." Click. And I'm like, I didn't hear "would you please" in there anywhere. I didn't. If I'm not mistaken, that wasn't a request. That was a demand. What the hell? I got to go. And while I'm going down and getting in my car, this is just me grumbling to myself. Who the hell is this guy? I don't know this guy. How am I ever going to? This is ridiculous. And go picking up total strangers. I got enough to do. I'm trying to find. I got problems, for Christ's sake. And I'm driving. And I'm going. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm driving down. I'm getting close. I'm like a block away from 4th and Santa Monica, and I'm going. And if I'm not mistaken, there's 4 corners at 4th and Santa Monica. There's 4 corners, and there's a lot of people this particular time of day around. And how am I going to find one particular guy I've never seen before in my life? It's absolutely impossible to... Oh, that's him right there. Because there's just one guy standing on the corner doing this. Right? That's got to be my boy right there, right? I go, "Hey, you Tim?" He goes, "Yeah." "Get in the car." All right, now you got to remember, my social skills are extremely limited still at this point, I'm not the social butterfly that you see before you today. It wasn't pretty, but this guy was so messed up, right? I was like a breath of fresh air for this guy, you know what I mean? Like, "Get in the car." He got in the car, he goes, "Hey, my name's Tim, I got 6 days. You know what I mean? And my wife took me back and I got my job back, and I'm just thinking, holy shit, I got like a year. This guy's got 6 days, he's already doing better than me." And I went, "Hey, you know what you should do? You should shut up." And he just went, "Okay." Just started looking around. Drove him to the meeting, and I said, "Come with me." And I walked up to Donald and I went, "Here," and walked away, right? And I'm over and I'm thinking, right? I hear from the back there, I hear Donald's voice going, "He will need a ride home." I go, and two guys turned around and I went, nah, that was for me. I know that's for me, right? I will drive that guy home. Begrudgingly into action. Donald said, "I don't have to like it. I don't think it's a good idea. Just have to do it." So every time he told me to do something, I'd tell him that was a stupid idea, and then I'd go do it. And he would say, and you could hear him say to other people, "Have you met Earl? He's wonderful." Because I was just so ornery and contrary all the time, right? And he sponsored this girl. I'll never forget her, man. She was this redhead, and I'm not usually prone to redheads, but I was prone to this girl, right? And we were someplace cleaning up somebody's apartment and moving him or something. We were We were helping somebody do something. I don't remember what, right? And I looked across the room and I looked at her and I smiled and I go, hey, what's your name? She told me, I don't remember. And she said, what's your name? Earl. And we were talking. And I heard from like 3 rooms over, you heard, no. And she looked at me and she went, because it was on, man. And he just flipped a switch on that. Because not in my house, not my children. We don't mess like that. Like, oh, boy. I'll tell you what. That man saved my life. I listened to him when I would listen to no one else. No one. And I'm alive because of him. I talked to him every day for almost 14 years, right up until the day he died. And one of the last things, when I was 11, the beginning of that story was that we were driving along, and he goes, oh, I understand now. And I was like, what? What do you understand now? And he said, you should never be allowed to walk the earth unattended. And I thought, you're just spotting that, are you? 11 years. Everybody knows that. There's actually a tape set of me that's it's called Unsupervised in New York. Right? But the actual statement was, you should never be allowed to walk the earth unattended. And at first you're insulted, and then you realize, okay, where am I going? Right? Oh, so that means I'm not going to be alone ever again? I'm not going to feel, I'm not going to be left alone. I'm not going to be left with just my own best thinking to fend for myself. I'm going to be a part of something bigger than me? Cool. All right? I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time cut off from humanity by choice, by pain. And who wants to live like that? And the defects of character are the things that rob me of a genuine relationship with self. Any kind of realistic, responsible relationship with other people, and any kind of meaningful relationship with a power greater than myself. Those are the things that get removed, are the things that block me from the big buzz. So the things that I cling to so desperately, I find that I cling to them simply because they are what I know. They're the devil I know. That's what they are. It's just the devil I know. It's the stuff that I'm familiar with, that I'm comfortable with, that I already know the outcome of those actions. No surprises if I stick to the old way. But no reward either. No revelation. No growth, no greater good, no greater happiness, no joy, right? That to ask God to remove the defects of character, and then to go about the business of my side of the street, which is to chop the wood and carry the water of Alcoholics Anonymous. If I do that, I put myself in position for that request to come into play. I position myself to allow for those defects of character to be removed, to have a new way of life, a new way of thinking, a new way of being to be revealed to me, to be placed before me, and for me to realize, oh, I have an option here. I have a choice. I've been with the same woman now for 20 years. For me, hitting the 3-week mark was pretty good, right? I'm just not that guy. I've been a gypsy my whole life. You know what I mean? And I didn't own a house. You know what I mean? I didn't, because you buy a house, they know where you are. They know where to find you. I remember sober. I went to Donald and I brought in my first driver's license that had my picture and my actual address on it. I was 31 years old. And it was the first time I ever had one of those. And I brought it to him and I was crying. I couldn't say, look. I just was like, with tears. I mean, It's like, look, Donald, it's my picture, and you know I live that address. If you go there, I live at that place, right? And this was such a big deal to me. It meant I'm above the line. For the first time in my life, I'm a solid citizen. That I'm not worried. I'm not worried. There's nobody after me that I have to, I can't let them know where I am. I'm out in the open now. I'm just right out in the open. Here I am. And when he saw it, he just went, oh, wonderful. And he picks up the phone and he goes, hello, Ed. Earl has a driver's license and it's real. He hangs up the phone and he just said, you know he's a gossip that everyone will know by dark. I said, yeah, they will. And everybody did, because Ed was like, Jesus Christ, Earl got a driver's license. You know what I mean? And it was just out, the drums were beating in AA, and I went to a meeting that night, and 8 guys were like, yay, driver's license! You know, it was like, and that was the world for me, you know? That what meant the world for me wasn't so much that I had it, but that there were people in my life that I could share that victory with, that they understood the little victory, right? And which leads me to this, is that right in the middle is 4, 5, 6, 7, then we'll get to 8 and 9. But 4 and we've already been tripping around in 8 and 9. But what ends up happening is that what I'm doing is I'm trying to line myself up. I'm trying to square myself up with life on life's terms. I'm trying to put myself in position to score. You know what I'm saying? That if the steps are not about where the ball is. The steps are about where the ball's gonna be, and getting ready to be that step ahead based on spiritual principles, to align myself with life on life's terms, to not be stuck in a particular position based on old ideas, old ways, defects of character, stuff that doesn't work, but to allow myself open to that which allows me to move into the flow of life, so that I get into the groove of living. Right? I can move towards something new. And here's what I think one of the most remarkable things I've discovered as a result of that constant state of preparedness, as Donald called it. That we live in a constant state of preparedness. Get ready, because it's about to pop. Right? Is that, and what are you going to do to get ready for the next big buzz, Earl? The next big, shock into the next level of creativity or awareness. What are you doing? He said, I'm going to a meeting. And I'm going to be there 30 minutes early. I'm going to scan the room and I'm going to look for the guy who's got nothing I want. And I'm going to go up and say hello to him, see if he's got a big book, 12, and if he's got a meeting directory. If he's plugged in, if he needs a cup of coffee, needs a seat. That's what I'm going to do. Because that's me being ready. That's me chopping the wood and carrying the water. That's me being the water flowing over the rock. That's me doing what I need to do, having said my serenity prayer and walked into that meeting 30 minutes early. What happens? And what happened was this. I found that you come to marvel in the ordinary. Now you got to just hold on to that for a second. To marvel in the ordinary. What that actually means. That means that I don't need to hear a bullet go by to believe I've had an interesting day. And that's how it used to be for me. I know what it sounds like when a bullet's by. Let me put it to you this way. If you've never been shot at, and some guy somewhere down the road decides to take a shot at you with a rifle, where the bullet goes by before you hear the report of the rifle, the crack of the rifle, you hear that, right? That spinning projectile, right? If it happens to you, you will go. I don't care who you are or what your background is. When that bullet goes by, you will go, well, that was a bullet. Somewhere down on a cellular level, somebody back in your ancestry has been shot at. And you will know that was a bullet. And you will start the serpentine movements, the zigging and the zagging, that you can get behind something, right? First time I ever got shot at, I was 12 years old. down in Mexico. Another long story we don't need to get into here. But I knew what that was. That was a book. Right? I needed something like that. I needed to get in a fight. I needed to start a brawl. I needed to be charged with mayhem. That's hard to do. Mayhem. It's got to get bad, you know, for them to go, I believe we've reached mayhem on this individual. Write that down, Sergeant. Get mayhem. But an extra said, cuff his feet, too. Cuff his feet. That's an interesting day, coming to in the ER, right? Getting in a fight with a guy who's absolutely his intention is to kill you and survive that battle. So I took 50 stitches in the arm, but survived that one. And there were a few more. I got a lot of stitches in me. But so I don't need that anymore. What do I need? Do you hear that? Hear that river? Just that faint, that river. Water flowing over rocks. Woke up this morning, heard the water dripping off the building, right? If you go outside and stand by that fire and listen to the fire, listen to the crackle of the wood, and marvel in the majesty of the world that we live in. What the remarkable place we're in right now, right? That we're all, there's a room full of dead men, right? Gathering together in an effort to experience life on yet a deeper level. Come on, man. Got to marvel in the ordinary. You got to marvel in us breathing in the oxygen and out the carbon dioxide, and those trees right there. Those beautiful, majestic creatures, those living things, breathing in that carbon dioxide and breathing out the oxygen. We give, we get. They give, they get. In one act. That our breathing is their breathing. I marvel in that. Come on, man. Right? Tell me there ain't no big buzz here. And I ain't even, yeah, you just, I'm not, everything that I've just stated is within 75 feet of where I'm standing. You want to expand out into it? Come on now, man. I got dogs, which, by the way, are better than people. I walk on, I open, every single time I open my door, those dogs are like, oh my God, he's back. This is fantastic. Look at how my entire body, I can't even hold it in. This is so great. I'm wiggling and shaking and running in circles at your back. Right? Now, I might have just gone out to the garage and come back. He's back. Right? I got a woman I've been with for 20 years. She don't do that. We were telling a joke before the meeting. I was telling these guys, I said, this settles that score as far as I'm concerned. Take your dog and your wife outside and throw them both in the trunk of your car and lock the lid. Close it, just leave it. Come back 2 hours later, open up the trunk and see who's happy to see you. Dog's like, he's back. She's like, wait till I get out of this trunk and get out. And rightfully so. I'm married to a woman I actually know. Been married 4 times. This is the first for me. We actually like each other. We fight. We don't like it. Don't like it. Just the other day, she said to me, we've been fighting a little bit. Can we just stop it? I said, done. I said, cool. And we actually stopped right there. That's it. Nobody needs to go. Except for this one thing. Nope. Just let it go. None of it worth it. She could have said to me in that moment, the last 3 times we fought, can you remember what it was about? Glad she didn't ask me, because the answer was, nope, I don't remember. I don't know. I'm sure I'll be willing to fight about it again, though. Because that's me. No, let's let it go. right? That's impossible for somebody like me to allow myself to be loved. Because I swore on that mountain, I watched everybody bleeding to death right in front of me. I swore I'd never love another human being again as long as I lived, and there's no way I was ever going to tell you who I was. There's no way you're going to love me. I'm out. And I came into Alcoholics Anonymous holding true to that promise, that I would not tell you who I am. I'm not going to let you in. I'm not doing it. It's too painful. I can't do it. You guys picked my pocket like a thief in the night. You robbed me of my anger and then just stepped right on in. And there was nothing I could do about it. I called up Donald one day and I said, Donald, and this is hand to God, called up Donald Madden and said, Donald, something has gone terribly wrong. He goes, oh, what is it? And I said, I love you. And he said, oh, I know, baby. Click. I was so glad he hung up the phone, man, because I had nowhere else. That was it for me. I let him know, and let's just stop. Let's just leave it alone now. And he knew to just, go, I know, click. Because he was the same way. It was easy for him to love others, but to be loved, nah. For me, it was, either way. I don't want to love stuff. I just don't want to do it. I don't see the point. So you guys took that away from me. And there was a point in the book, in the promises in 9, I said, in 8 you make a list of all the people you harmed, and then you make amends. And to make amends means to change, right? So if I've been disrespectful to you and I come to you and I go, listen, I spoke to you in a disrespectful way, and I want you to know that I'm really sorry for speaking to you that way. I had no right to speak to you that way, and I apologize. And to make amends means to change. So I'm going to make every effort not to talk to people like that anymore. I'm going to make every effort not to do to anyone else what I did to you. And if there's anything else, I spoke to you that way in front of these 2 gentlemen. So if you want to, we'll go find them. If it'll help, we can go find them, and I will apologize to you in front of them, as I spoke disrespectfully to you in front of them. I will try everything I can to make this right. And I stole your car. Yeah, that was me, right? And I estimate the value of the car at $50,000 at the time of the theft. He's going, no, dude. Whatever number you say that car was worth when I stole it, that's the number, right? And I'm going to give you this much money because this is what I can, out of my paycheck. I'm going to give you this every month as a minimum payment at whatever rate of interest you determine to be appropriate until I have paid you back for that car. And I'm not going to go steal his car to pay you for the car I stole from you. I'm out of the car. Amends means to change. I'm out of the car thieving game, right? So the amends step is 2 things. It's not just one. It's I'm going to clean up the wreckage that I've created as a result of this behavior, and I'm going to do my utmost not to carry that behavior forward. So it's 2 things. I'm drawing a line in the sand in 9. Now, I read that, and I thought, that's fair. And then I read through the steps, and it said, will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. And I said, bullshit. There's a part of my past that I will always regret, and I will never be able to shut the door. And so I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a line through that in my book. It's still going to be the best book there is. It's still going to be the best deal anybody like me could ever possibly be offered. It's still the deal of a lifetime. But we're just going to take that sentence out, because when I get to that, and it isn't true, it's going to piss me off. And Donald looked at me and he said, thank you for sharing, Earl. Leave it alone. Fine. I warned you, right? We get there. I grumble. Yeah. A few years later, I'm driving along, and I'm kind of like, anybody read G. Gordon Liddy's book, Will? G. Gordon Liddy was a tough son of a bitch, man. Politically, he and I couldn't be more different, but I just had a lot of respect for the dude, man. It's just like, I am who I am. You don't like it, take it down the road. He was a stand-up guy. right? He's the only guy that didn't rat out Nixon. Not that ratting out Nixon was a bad deal. I'm just saying that this guy was just a stand. He was just who he is. This is who I am. You know what I mean? And I know I'm not going to apologize for any of it, right? And in his story, he was afraid of rats when he was a kid. So he went out, caught a rat, killed it, cooked it, and ate it. Get over the fear of rats. And I thought, God damn. That's a hard ass, man. And I remembered that, right? So I'm walking around, and I remember driving by, and there was a church, Bel Air Presbyterian Church. It was a church. My father had been a deacon in that church, helped build that church. And that's where my family's funeral was. And I couldn't go in that building after that. Last time, I said, I will not set foot in this building again after the funeral, right? And I'm driving along, and I'm thinking, there's a place I can't go. There's a place I can't go, and I don't like that. What would G. Gordon do? G. Gordon would do a U-turn and go right over and walk right into that joint, right? It was on a Monday night, and I knew there was an A&A meeting in there, so I thought, this is probably as good as this building's going to get for me. Some of my brothers and sisters are in there, you know what I mean? I'll just slide in there and be there, and I don't have to tell anybody why I'm there. I don't have to make a thing about it. I'll just go be in that building. So I drive up, I go in, I sit, I walk in the AA meeting, and there's a guy leading the meeting. And we just do that head nodding thing, and he's up there sharing. And I go and I just sit down, and I'm just watching everybody talk, and I'm just being there. And I'm, breathing. I'm just checking my breathing, you know what I mean? And I'm not locking up, not stopping breathing. Breathing, just be cool. It's just a place, man. That's all it is. It's a place with memories. There's no ghosts here. Right? They're here. They're not out in the room. And all of a sudden the leader goes, Earl, you want to share? And I said, no, I'm just going to, and that's all I got out of my mouth. And this woman screams across the room and stands up. And I'm like, oh, shit. What did I do? Right? It's always my first thought. It's like, what did I do? Right? And she says, are you Earl Hightower? And I said, yeah. And she starts crying, and she just starts walking. The whole meeting, everybody's just kind of looking around like, what the hell? I don't believe this is not the format. What's going on? Right? And she walks over, and she sits down, and just starts crying. I'm holding this woman, and she's sobbing on my shoulder, and I'm just patting her on the back, and I'm looking at the leader guy, and I'm like, I don't know. And what I love about AA is there were no bleeding deacons in there going, for Christ's sake, this is A&A meeting we're going on. What the hell is this? Young lady, get back to your seat. We've got a format here, and we're going to stick to the goddamn format. Nobody said that. Everybody just kind of went, well, I guess we're going this way now. And she finished crying, and she said, I was in a plane crash a few years ago, and I got hurt real bad, and some people that I loved died. A lot of people died. And everybody's been telling me, you got to find Earl. Earl knows. She says, and I've been struggling staying sober, and I just need to look in your eyes, and I need to ask you, can I make it? And I said, yeah, honey, you can make it. And we just cried together, and half the rest of the place cried with us, you know what I mean? And then I looked at her, and I said, I think we should probably include everybody else now and, go back to the meeting. She said, okay, all right. She went and sat back down, and that line came true. That thing that I swore would never be a part of my book became a part of my book. That I wouldn't regret the pastor shut the door on it. Because I believe there's no way that plane crash and me watching those people die, that family that I wanted so bad and could never tell that to, never got a chance to tell them how much I loved them and how much I wanted them to be in my life and I wanted to be in their lives, that I never got a chance to tell them, died right in front of me. There's no way that's of any value to anybody anywhere ever. And then that one little woman got up and walked over and made my experience, that experience, valuable to her. And changed my game. My last holdout was taken from me. And That doesn't happen without 6 and 7 to position yourself for the wonder of what can be, and 8 and 9 to clear the path for it. Right? To position myself, and then just start chipping on the rock till suddenly, you know, you're on the other side of the mountain, you know, and it starts to get magical. But isn't it interesting that what appears to be magical is in fact footwork? We chop the wood and we carry the water, man. We say yes. We just say yes. Do you want to go? Can you give me a ride to the meeting? Yes. The phone rings. Hello. I see the number. I see the guy. I know exactly what he's calling to complain about because he's called me 847 times and complained about the same goddamn thing every single time. And I said yes. Hey, man, how you doing? Well, you know, and I just smile, you know. He doesn't realize the gift he's given me. He's stuck. I'm not. I'm chopping the wood and carrying the water. He's trying to find a way to make what's not right, right. Make what doesn't work, work. I can't help him with that. Saying, well, you know, that's why you keep having to keep calling me back about the same thing, is because you can't let it go. You can't redirect. You can't try something else. I said, you know, and until you can do that, I don't know what you want from me, other than to let you know that you're not alone and I'm here and I love you and I'll, you know, I'm here to tell you for, you know, 848th time that my experience is that doesn't work, which is why you remain pissed off, right? I'm not pissed off anymore. I'm not an angry man, right? I'm also not stuck on the one guy in the room who doesn't like me. You know what I mean? You can be talking to a room full of people and they'll go, oh, we love you, Earl. We love you, Earl. One guy in the back's like, Earl. Yeah. You know, and I go to bed thinking about, welcome that guy. You know what I mean? It's like, go ahead. Like me, don't like me, that's up to you. My job is to keep my side of the street clean. I ain't worried about your side. That's your job. I'm not going to trespass and tell you what you should do or should not do. I share my experience, strength, and hope. That's what I do. Not once have I said to you in here, and you better do this or else. You're not going to hear that from me. If you do this, if you walk up to me and say, you know what, I do this completely differently, I'll say, fantastic. Why should that be a problem? Are we lining up to make somebody wrong here? Because I'm not, if that's the game we're going to play, I'm out. I don't want to play. I'm not here to make you wrong or so that I can be right. And I'm not going to let you make me wrong so that you can be right. I'm doing you a disservice playing the game. Don't want to play. Right? Life's too short. It goes by so fast. 4 and 5 me, 6 and 7 God, 8 and 9 everybody else. Allows me to reposition myself in all those 3 relationships to allow myself for the big buzz to happen, for my consciousness to grow, to become enlightened, to move towards enlightenment. The absolutes that are unattainable. Will I ever be a 100% honest man? Of course I will. Which is, now I have just lied to you, so that proves my point, right? No, I'm not going to be a completely honest man. I'm going to move towards it. I'm going to do the best I can to lie less and less. I do lie less and less. All right? I want to be a loving man. When I came in here, I thought if I loved you, you would love me, that was my reward. If I was honest with you, you would be honest with me. That would be my reward. Right? And on and on and on within that framework. Here's what I found instead. Something far more valuable. I found that if I am honest with you, I become an honest man. If I love you, I become a loving man. What you become is up to you. I take those actions because that's what I want to be. There's a guy that I knew real well. His name was Paul O. Dr. Paul. We became real good friends. And he had his story was in the book, Dr. Addict Alcoholic. And there was a line in his story that became a very, very well-known, often quoted line. And it became at times, for those who sought controversy, it was that line was a sitting duck, right? And they would come up to him and argue with him about it, or how he had betrayed them, or how he had set them up, or how he was wrong. Or, I mean, and it, all the way from people coming up going, "We love you, Dr. Paul, and thank you for the gift you've given to Alcoholics Anonymous," all the way to, "How could you? How dare you?" You know what I mean? And everything in between. And you know what I watched that man do? I watched him be kind to every person, regardless of where they landed on that arc. If they walked up and said, "You're a horrible human being," he'd just say, "I'm so sorry that you feel that way. Is there anything I can do to help you, level out there? Because you seem a little off center, buddy. You seem a little wound, a little tight. Let's do some breathing exercises. What do you? I mean, that was Paul. And if you came up and said, "I love you, Paul," he said, "I love you too." He was kind. He wasn't kind contingent upon what you did or did not do. He was kind because he had made the decision that he was going to be a kind man. And I watched, and that's what I saw. And that's when I thought, when I grow up, I want to be like him. I want to be strong enough to be kind, regardless of your behavior or your position or your feelings. I wish to be kind. I am the majority of the time. I still got some bark left in me, you know what I mean? I'm not making excuses, but I'll get a little worn down, or I'll get a little caught off guard, or somebody will walk up and spew some nonsense in my face, and I'll snap back, and then which really bums me out that they got to me, because now I got to go make amends to somebody I don't even like. Listen, the way I spoke to you is, I spoke to you like that before you spoke to me like that. I go, that's got nothing to do with my side of the street. My side of the street is, I should not have spoken to you in that tone, and I apologize. So you didn't mean that? Oh, I meant it. But the manner it was delivered in was completely inappropriate. So I apologize for that. You work with what you got. You know what I mean? You do the best you can. Yeah. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, they call those the action steps, like there's a step that doesn't have action associated with it. They all require action. They all require change. They all require self-searching. They all require, pausing and reflecting. They all require action. They all require a willingness to be something other than what I am in this moment. To be open to something new in the next moment. Right? Another guy that I knew was one of the giants that I followed. He's telling me, "Earl, all you got to do is get between these. Just get in there." And I just looking at him. It's like, do it again if you want, but I don't think I'm going to get it then either. And he just said, "Look, it's about right now. It's about now. It's all we have is now. All we have is this moment, right? What am I going to bring to this moment? Am I going to bring the wreckage of my past? Am I going to carry it in a big bag with me into this moment? Now this one, am I bringing it? Or do I drop that? And am I going to bring a new freedom, a new happiness? Am I going to bring a faith and belief in my intuition? Am I going to bring, all that is new and freeing about Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps, the metaphysical spiritual path of the 12 steps? Am I going to bring that into this next moment? Am I going to be in this next moment? Or am I going to be lost in the prison of my past? are the unknown nature of my future, the non-nature of my future. Am I going to be or am I going to actually be here in this moment with you? Right? That's what he meant. Just get between those. Just get in this moment. Be present. I want to be able, when you're talking to me, I want to be able to look in the eyes, and when you say to me, are you listening? Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here. I'm not anyplace else. I'm not secretly thinking about that nap. Or the fact that I got I was talking to a guy during the break. Most people don't know that I've broken my back twice. I've broken 74 bones all total. I've got loss of mobility and 18 degrees loss of mobility in one ankle. I mean, I'm tore up, man, physically. 66 years old and torn up. Right? Standing for this amount of time is excruciatingly painful for me. It is. It's really painful for me. I'm 100% disabled, right? I got the blue placard, man. I can park anywhere I want. The only thing better than my car is an ambulance. You want to park somewhere, right? I can park anywhere I want, right? And you want to know something? There's a lot of old duffers in this room got a hitch in their giddy up. You know what I mean? You don't get through without some scar tissue. There's a lot of guys in here with a ding or two in them, And here's the thing. Am I in a lot of pain in this moment? Yeah, I am. I'm in a lot of pain. Both my feet right now feel like they're on fire. That's just what's happening right now. Some other day it'll be this leg goes completely numb, or this one lights up, or I can't turn that way, which apparently seems to be today as well because I'm pointing rather than doing it. I got no that way in me right now. Right? Yeah, but it'll be back. It'll be back, and I'll go put my feet up during the break, and I'll get some peace and quiet, and I'll come back ready to rock, man. But here's the thing. I'm alive. I'm alive. When you hear my story, it's like, that guy, how is that guy alive? Even in here, people go, how is that guy alive? Beats me. I tried very hard not to be alive. But I am. And I'm going to make the absolute best of it. And not say no, because I'm 66 years old. My back, I'm all busted up, and I've done enough. I can say that to anybody, and nobody'd fight me on it. They can say, Earl, your commitment to Alcoholics Anonymous has been extreme. We don't need another thing out of you, and you've done your bit for A&A. And my response to that would be bullshit. Right? See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Bet I beat you to those chairs. I have half this room set up before you get there, right? Why? Because I want this thing more now than ever. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous in good standing, and I'm keeping it that way. And 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 allow me to continue to improve my relationship with myself, my relationship with you, and my relationship with a power greater than myself, which is where the buzz is, man. That's what I'm after, right? So we're going to take a break. We'll be back for dinner, and then we're going to do 10, 11, and 12, right? And complete the steps, right? So that tomorrow morning we can connect all the dots, look at the arc, and see where this rocket ship can go. All right? Peace. Jesus Christ. So that happens when you have prime rib right before you do stuff, right? Everybody goes to sleep. All right. So, what the hell are we talking about? Steps. That's right. Steps. We're up through 8. One of the things I wanted to mention on 8 before we go flying into the, rounding the final turn and hitting the home stretch here, is it says, we make direct amends wherever possible, except, now they felt the need to say, there's an exception to the rule, and they wanted to state it directly in the step. I thought that was pretty impressive, right? We want to make direct amends. That's the goal. We want to step right up and handle our business, right? Clean it up. Except when to do so might injure them being the person that we're making the amends to, or others. And I thought about that a lot, and I thought, well, being an alcoholic, I can run with that. And that can get me out of half the amends I was thinking of making, all right? Possibility, don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I mean, you can get really carried away with that. But I think for me, again, this is my opinion, I think what they're talking about is that we don't clear our conscience, we don't clean our side of the street, we don't set our affairs in order at the expense of other people. I believe that that's the intention of that, is that we don't feel better at the cost of another. We don't do that. Example, an obvious example, you sleep with some guy's wife, right? He's feeling pretty bad. He gets sober. You're feeling pretty bad about that. You got to carry the weight of that. Or you go up to that guy and go, look, I've been feeling really bad about this. And I feel I need to let you know. I slept with your wife. And he goes, really, thanks for the information. He goes home and goes, hey, out you go, right? You shatter a marriage. You devastate her life, his life, right? All in the name of cleaning your side of the street, right? We don't right our wrongs. We don't feel better at the expense of other people. That's my opinion. You don't do that. There's other ways you can talk to yourself. There's people that think of there's living amends that you can make. There's people that object to that strenuously. No such thing as a living amends. Well, okay, right? I didn't know it was that severe around here. Make your effort to set things right, and do that in a way that is not at the expense of another human being. That's the idea. If I walk up to somebody and go, listen, 20 years ago, blah, 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 and they go, you know what, dude, I have put that behind me. That is in my rearview mirror. You bringing it up and dredging it all up is just going to piss me off all over again. So just consider it done and take a hike. Now, I'm not going to say to that guy, no, seriously, we need to sit and talk about that. I'm not going to fight some guy to make amends. If he's like, nah, you know what, I don't want to go there again. I got to respect that and find a different way to make the amends. And I want to put something, when I make amends, if I can't make direct amends wherever possible, except when to do so, I want to make indirect amends. I want to take some action in my life that has some correlation to what I've done that I feel requires making amends. And it might be a donation that I make to an organization that is in line with the circumstance. It might be not just making a donation, but putting in some man hours, going in and volunteering to do work someplace within a certain area of our society that is in line with the area of concern, right? But just find some way to put it out there in the universe to make right. I mean, I've had guys go back to places of business to make amends, financial amends, and they were out of business. And I said, well, make an effort. Who are the owners? See if you can track down the owners. Just because the businesses, the people are, go find the people and go make direct amends to the people. But make the amends. I'm telling you, don't sell yourself short on making amends. My amends were such that when I first started making them, when I was as a house painter, real early in sobriety, I thought I was going to make amends for the rest of my life. That it just looked so big to me. And if at some point I was lucky enough to get married and have kids, when I died, I would pass the remainder of my amends on to my children, who would carry on and finish out for their old man, what he was unable to finish, right? I didn't, and so I lived in a one-room apartment over a garage, a bootleg apartment, for 6.5 years, and a job turned into a career, and I started making good money, and and I could afford a lot nicer place and all that, but I didn't move. I stayed right there, man, and just poured dough out every month to make those amends, and I finished making my amends, and my sponsor said, look, go get yourself a nice place to live. You've earned it. You've worked hard. Now's the time. Go get someplace nice. So I went and I found this place. And since all my money had gone out to amends, I had just enough money for, the deposit, the first month, all that stuff, get the place. And I wanted it to be really nice. I wanted to paint the whole place, custom paint job, make the place look all great and all that stuff, right? But I didn't have the money left to do that. So I went to this old paint store I had worked with, and I had gone bust, on them, and I had to make amends to them to settle my account with them. It had taken me time to do that. So I walked back in there fully expecting to be rejected, but my sponsor just kept saying, just go through the door and ask for what you need, and they're going to say what they're going to say, but just go forward. I was like, all right, but this isn't going to go well. And I went into this paint store, and I walked in, and I said, hey, listen, I used to be a house painter. I had an account here. It's been closed for a while, a year or so, and I just got this new place, and I don't really have the money on me to fix it up for the move-in, and I was just wondering if I could get some materials on account, and open an account, get materials, fix this place up, and I'll get square with you within 30 days. And the guy says, just a second. And he goes in the back. And I know he's looking up the files. He's going to get to my file, and it's over. But I'm going to stand there and take it. I'm going to stand there and have him come out and go, you got to be kidding me. Get out. And I'm just like, all right, have a good day. And I was ready to, take it on the chin, do what I was told, right? The guy walked out, and he stuck his hand over the counter to shake my hand, and he said, you're a guy who pays his bills. Take anything you need, and we'll put it on account for you. Don't worry about it. He shook my hand. And I said, excuse me for just a sec. I went outside, got emotional about that, right? Because that was the first time in my sobriety I had walked in someplace, that knew who I was, knew who I had been, right? Not who I had become, but who I had been, and had seen my efforts to make things right. And it said, we trust you. We think your word is good. And I'd never felt that feeling before. And I floated out of that place, with the stuff I needed to fix my place up. And I went back and made good on the deal, and, and everybody was happy. But you got to stick around for the little miracles. You know what I mean? You got to stick around for those little victories, those things that can heal you in a way that you just weren't expecting. So, make the amends, man. That, don't. It's how, again, the question is, how free do you want to be? Do you want the big buzz, or do you want that little buzz? You know what I mean? I say, get free and go for the big buzz. Have it all. All it takes is just standing up and being clear. And if you have any questions or doubts about whether or not a direct amends is necessary and or suggested, talk it over with your sponsor. It's the sponsor's job, right? Talk to you about the steps. How do you implement the steps? All right, so that's all I got to say about 8. We'll wrap that up. So me, God, and you, we did that. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, 10, 11, and 12. Same thing. This shouldn't take long at all. It's the same thing. Me, God, and you. Same order. Notice the order. First, we're checking our side of the street, my side of the street. Second, I'm hooking it up with power. Third, I'm interacting with you. I get to you last because I got a lot of prep to do before I start running amok and interacting with other people. You arm me with a little information, I can wreak havoc out there. So we want to be, it's the same order, the same idea. So 10, I continue to take personal inventory, and when I'm wrong, promptly admit it. A lot of people do a daily 10-step. How many in here are daily 10-step guys? A few of you. There's a few of you guys. Do you do a written one? No, just a couple guys do written ones. Most of you just go through your checklist. I'm a checklist guy, right? At the end of the day, if I arouse jealousy, suspicion, you know what I mean? I go through the course of my day, Because in amends it says, it says immediately, we do things right away. If we got stuff to clean up, clean it up right away, right? So in my 10th step, I want to review the day, and if I see that there's some corrections to be made, if there's some clarity that I need to bring to that, if there's an apology possibly that's necessary, I make a note of that so that I make the first part of my day the next day cleaning that up. I don't linger, because if I let it slide, I'll get to it. No, I won't. I'll get to it is no, I won't. No, I will not get to it. I'll get to it means I don't want to do it, so I'm going to get to it. Never. Right. So you just do it and clean it up. Hey, you know that conversation we had yesterday? I think I need to restate some of that, right? And how many people here lied for absolutely no reason? Everybody don't have their hand up lying right now. Those are wild, aren't they? You know what I mean? Have you thought about what the hell am I doing this for, right? I mean, people, what'd you do this afternoon, Earl? I went to the movies. Thinking to myself, what the hell did I just say that for? I didn't go to the movies. And I in no way improved my standing with this individual by telling him that I did. There was no point in it. I just flew out of my mouth. I just lied. I went to the movies. No, I didn't. So, making up, right? Did not call Joe, didn't go to the movies. Joe will understand. Just flew out, Joe. I don't know what the deal was, but I didn't go to the movies. Sorry, I told you I did. Just wanted to clean it up. Didn't want any dirt between us. You know what I mean? And Joe just, I get it. I do it 2-3 times a week. Don't sweat it. The only reason I can think of that people do that I do that, is that way down deep inside me sleeps the alcoholic. He's in there, right? And so the day may come where I'm going to have to look somebody in the eye and tell a whopper and sell it. And you wouldn't want to get rusty. So every once in a while, I just seem to lob out a perfectly harmless lie to see if I still got it in there. You know what I mean? If I can still, it's the only reason I can think of that I do that. I don't know why else I would lie like that. Now, the fun one on this stuff is with the normal folk, as we like to call them. It's just sitting and you're in a conversation with a normal individual, and you're so full of shit in, 2 sentences into this conversation, the classic one is the fish, and I was, I'm not a fisherman, so I don't know fisherman terms, you know what I mean? But, I threw in the line and hooked the fish, and we were fighting, and the fish was 5 times what the line could handle, and somehow I was just finessing because of my masterful fisherman skills, right? And the fish, unbelievable. The photos will be here shortly. And as this story's going, it's just on or the putt. You know what I mean? I lined up the putt, and there were 2 breaks and a mound and a hill and a thing and a guy and I and it was tracking, and it was in and just bang right in there, 75-footer, right? 1 putted, right? Complete horse shit, right? And I love with the normal man, when you're telling the story, right in the middle of the story going, hold on, everything I just said to you is complete bullshit, let's start over, all right? Here's what actually happened. And watch their face when I say to them, wait, hold on, everything I just told you was complete crap. I'm going to start the story over and tell you the truth. How's that sound? All right, here's what really happened. I didn't go golfing at all. I was at home watching golf. And a guy did make a putt quite similar to the one I was attributing to my game, right? But the look on their faces, they start to blink a lot when you're telling, I don't understand what's happening. What are you talking about? And it's just, I'm just cleaning up, I'm just cleaning it up. I don't want to lie. I don't want to be dishonest anymore. I want to be free of all that. And I'm not, and I'd rather be mildly embarrassed in a given situation owning my stuff and getting right with it, than having to live with the lie, having to live with that continued old behavior. It gets harder and harder. My experience is the longer you stay sober, the harder it gets to live with that stuff, It's just simpler to tell. That's the thing that I enjoy, is the truth is just so much simpler. And the fact is, nobody really cares anyway. Nobody's really that worked up about what I'm doing or not doing. You can just tell them the truth. What'd you do today? Nothing. What'd you do? Were you taking a nap between meals here? No. I didn't take a nap. I rested my back, I stretched out, I worked, I got a bunch of stuff done that I needed to get done for Monday and Tuesday, and lined up some new stuff for the next week, and got some, and then came down here and ate and went back up and did a couple more things, and then came here. That's what I did. Right? I did not take advantage of the downtime like I said I was gonna. None of you seem real upset about that. See what I mean? Everybody's like, okay, right? That's pretty much how it goes all the time. The 10th step is an opportunity for me when I do mess it up to clean it up right away. Promptly admit when I've gone off course. It allows that for me. Step 11 is again the higher power that I talked about. Was that a possibility in 2, right? That I decided to throw the reins to in 3, right? That I gave the defects of character to in 7 and 8. And in 11, right? I saw through prayer and meditation. What did I see? Saw through prayer and meditation, knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry that out. That's what I'm looking for, right? That's what I want. A conscious contact, awake. I want that conscious contact with a power greater than myself. Knowledge of his will for me and the power to carry that out. I want how am I going after this? Through prayer and meditation. What prayers am I using? Take your pick. Right? There's no rules that I'm aware of about what prayers when. I remember I was going to Ohio Street like 3-4 nights a week. I'd been there like 2.5, 3 years. And I noticed that right behind the podium was about a 3-by-4 foot painting of the Serenity Prayer. Right behind the podium. And after a couple of years there, I spotted it. And I read it and I thought, that's pretty profound, that Serenity Prayer. Immediately called up Donald. Donald, I got a prayer. Oh, wonderful. Not as enthusiastic as he usually was. He said, what is it? I said, it's the Serenity Prayer. He said, no. I said, what are you talking about? It's the shortest one I could find. He goes, nah, there's way too much going on in there. You're going to screw that up completely. And I thought about it. I thought, yeah, that's a distinct possibility that I could mess that up. There's a lot in there, right? So he said, I'm going to give you some prayers. Really? Multiple prayers? He goes, yep, I got prayers for you. You're going to love them. I said, great. I'm all ready. I got my pen out. He goes, you're not going to need a pen. It's all right, I got one out. What do you got? He goes, all right. Every morning when you wake up, I said, I know the madness just sets upon you quickly before your feet even hit the floor. And I go, yep, yeah, it does. And he goes, all right, before you set foot on the ground, I want you to put your little hands up in the air like this, and I want you to look, I want you to say, whatever. And get up and begin your day. All right, whatever. So that's, what else? So that's it. That's the prayer. I said, seriously, one word. He goes, yeah, think about it. Whatever. That you're letting it go. You're turning it over. You're giving it up. Whatever. It's up to you. Whatever you say. Whatever you want. Whatever, thy will, not mine. It's all in there. Whatever. Just whatever's going to trigger that frame of mind for you, and you're going to give up, right, that you're not in control, and you're going to go out there and you're going to be a good AA foot soldier. I go, ow, this is awesome. Underline whatever. You said there's more than one there. What else is there? And he goes, okay, when you get home at night, I want you to get into bed. I want you to pull the covers up to that crazy head of yours, and I want you to throw your hands up, and I want you to say, enough. Got it. Enough. What else? That's it. That's it. That's your prayer. Enough. That just means I'm going to go to sleep today. That was the day. I was just one day at a time. I've completed the day. I hope I've done so in a manner that is in keeping with how you would have me behave. We're all good here, right? And that's it. I said, great. So I got whatever and enough. And he goes, right. It's good talking to you. Click. I always appreciated it when he hung up on me like that, because the longer conversations were a little bit beyond me. So I like to keep it short, keep me on track, right? So I go on for 3 or 4 days, and it's about third or fourth day. It's like 9:30 in the morning, and I'm maxed out, right? I'm ready to tap out. I'm not going to get through this one. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm thinking, I ain't getting to enough. I mean, I'm going to make it. So I called him up and I said, I'm screwed. He goes, what's the problem? I said, I'm done, man. I'm locking up. I can't take, I'm freaking out. I'm stopping. He goes, all right, now breathe. He goes, no, actually breathe. He goes, all right, now take another deep breath. Now say enough. I said, enough. He goes, now take another deep breath. He said, now say whatever. I said, you can do that? I thought I got one per day of each. You get one whatever and one enough. That's all you get. And now you're telling me 9:30 in the morning, I get a whatever and I'm an enough and now another whatever. It's 9:30 in the morning. He says, Earl, time is an abstract concept. I don't want you to stop and think about that. I don't want you falling into that wormhole, because you'll just end up in some strange place that we don't want to have to come get you from. So just follow me here. You can stop and start your day over anytime you want. Stop, step back, take a deep breath. Enough. Whatever. Begin your day again. You can just drop it. Let it go. Let go of all the tension, all the buildup, all the taking it so serious, all the grabbing a hold of it stuff and not letting go. You're losing your ability to go with the flow in the day. You're losing your ability to move with life. You're not in life on life's terms. You're in opposition to it. You're resisting what is going on around you. You will not win behaving that way. You got to loosen it back up, man, and go with it. That's how it's going to get. You're going to get where you need to get. It just might be by a path different than the one you had decided on earlier that morning, right? So just take it easier. And those two prayers led me into a life where I learned the meaning of the slower you go, the faster you get there. That has worked in my life. I don't press. I don't push. I don't have to get the bit in my teeth, which is my nature, to battle my way to success, to battle my way to victory, to put myself at odds with the fight, to put myself in opposition to something, to overcome it in order to feel that I have in some way succeeded. I don't live like that anymore. I go with the flow. I move with the world now. I find the current that suits me, and I roll with that. And I know where I want to get, and I always seem to get there. And I never seem to get there the way in which I had intended. I get there some other way, but I have to be open and available to that. So the slower I go, the faster I get to where I really want to get. And being able to say whatever and enough, stop and start my day when I need to acknowledge that I'm getting back to old behavior, I'm getting my grind on, I'm getting, you know what I mean? That the dukes are coming up, you know what I mean? And I need to open my hand.